Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalalem La Yahawashi Yashabashin Hakudash. And once more, double honors to the greats and apostles. Father Yahawah, Yashah for the strength in order to make this video. And Yaratazar that you're edified and you're exhorted from this video as well, man. Edify means to build, exhort means to encourage. So in the last video I mentioned about which this is a part 2 to the other video where I mentioned our fear to Yahawashi conquers the worldly fear, which especially will be invoked by Esau. Even the worldly fear will be invoked by Esau. And once more, it's the brother Ra'azar Halawiyah, willing spirit, praise Yahawah. That's what it means. For any brothers that are new as well. It's the name of the channel. So that's the point. The point is part 2 to the video about our fear in Yahawashi conquering the worldly fear, which that worldly fear is going to be invoked by Esau Edom because he's been given the fatness of the earth and he's the one in rulership right now. Right, so Hebrews 12 and verse 9. I'm going to start off with this first, which matches with the other video which I mentioned, which I read 2 Maccabees 7 on, which shows the faith of the 7 brothers and the mother in Yahawashi. And of course, the fear of Yahawah is what directed their actions to die rather than to sell out to Esau Edom. And this was their mindset. This precept I'm about to read was their mindset throughout the whole way, throughout all the brothers. So Hebrews 12 and 9, furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Reverence means deep respect. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live? And who's the Father of spirits? The Most High Yahawah. So of course, us giving that deep reverence, that deep respect, which is what reverence means, is it says how much more to the Father of spirits, man. So of course, you ought to obey the Most High rather than men. That was the mindset that they had there, man. So that was a precept that I intended to have to bring out in the other video, but sometimes you miss a thing or two. But anyways, that was the one to begin with. Now let me read 1 Samuel 15 because this was really the inspiration for this little this video here as well. That's how you gain the favor of Yahawashi, where we have the fear which guides our actions. So us willing to die for Yahawashi, we now show our, of course, reverence and our commitment to Yahawashi, irrefutable proof. Which irrefutable means that you can't I was gonna say you can't criticize it, but there's no holes in it, for a lack of a better way to say it. There's no holes in it where it's sound, it's full, it's whole. When I say whole, WHOLE, so like substance to it. But anyways, let me just start off with 1 Samuel 15, man. Because 2 Maccabees 7 was an example of fear in a good way, to Yahawashi, which is towards Yahawashi. And what I'm about to read, 1 Samuel 15, is fear, but of men, in a bad way. So this is the balance of it, both sides. All right, let's see. 1 Samuel 15 and 1. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord Yahawah sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord Yahawah. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I, which means Lord of armies, that's Yahawah, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. So this was the commandment that Yahawah told Samuel to tell King Saul. So 1 Samuel 15 and 3. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass, which means donkey. So the Most High wanted King Saul to slay everything, clean out. There's There used to be a BBC show called Total Wipeout, man. I used to watch it all the time. You had these guys in in a water park or something like that, and they had to do different water challenges. Like you had a guy just jumping through water balloons or something. But yeah, for brothers in the UK, you may remember that was like early 2000s, mid 2000s as well. But anyways, besides that, the reason why I mentioned that is because the Mosai wanted King Saul to have a total wipeout of Amalek. So that's what reminded me of the show. So verse 4, and Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, the name of the place, 200,000 footmen, 200,000 footmen, and 10,000 men of Judah. It says, and Saul came, and you know, Judah's got that strength as well, man. So 10,000 men of Judah. Now verse 5, and Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait to the valley. And Saul said unto the king, to the Kenites, go depart, get ye down from among the Amalekites, and lest I destroy you with them, for ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from the Amalekites. You know, so I guess that was the Mosai using Saul for mercy to the Kenites. You know, but Amalek, which by the way, Amalek is I'm not sure who the Kenites are specifically, but Amalek, you know, they're the so-called fake Jews. If that's a way to say it. I know Elder says J double O's. I realized what it meant because, you know, when you say J double O's, if you actually pronounce it Jews, it sounds like, you know, JEWS. But anyways, man, Yaratazar, you know, so we still gotta bring out the truth. Now, verse 5, and Saul came to the city. Hold on, didn't I just read this? Oh yeah, I just read it. Alright, verse 7, and Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur. It says this over against Egypt, which if you recall, I think Exodus, between Exodus 13 to 15, you know, Israelites actually roamed in the wilderness of Shur. So Shur is like that forest dense area, that wilderness. But anyways, it says that is over against Egypt, and he took Agag, the king of Amalek, of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and best of the sheep, and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile, and refused that they destroyed utterly. So, point is, as we read in 1 Samuel 15:3, you know, Samuel told Saul not basically total wipeout, man, clean it out, kill everything, nothing alive. That's essentially livestock, men, women, children, fresh babies. No, clean it all out, total wipeout. That's what Samuel said. But we read it just now in verse 9 about him. He didn't utterly destroy everything. He took the good livestock, and he also took the king Agag of the Amalekites. So he's disobeying the Most High here. You know, so that's the point right there. Let's read on. It says verse 10, then came the word of the Lord Yahawah unto Samuel, saying, it repenteth me that I have set Saul to be king. So it's like a regret that the Most High has had, which really, all in all, it was his war at the end of the day. You know, so, because remember, I say remember, but you know, in the earlier chapters, I'm trying to think of it. In the earlier chapters, I'm not sure if it was chapter 7 or chapter 9, between chapter 7 and 9 probably, where Saul, actually hold on, verse 8, not verse 8, 1 Samuel chapter 8, you know, that was Sam, because Samuel's sons, you know, they were not really fit to rule, but the Most High wanted Israel to see Yahawah as the real ruler, you know, to lead Israel. But Israel said they wanted a physical king like the heathens, man. But the punishment was, okay, the Most High was going to give them a king, but at the cost of, this king being unfit to rule, essentially. You know, so the king would bring much grievousness to Israel, let's just say that. And that king was King Saul. Right, continue on. It says, "It repenteth me that I have not set, I have, so this is 1 Samuel 15 of verse 11. It repenteth me that I have set Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord Yahawah all night." So this was a pain for Samuel, man. So and especially with the relationship Samuel had with Saul, they would have been communicating. And remember, Samuel was the one who actually first lifted up Saul, man, to be this ruler as well. He told Saul that you were gonna prophesy with the prophets, man. That was in between verses, I think chapter 9 or chapter 10, and the origins of Saul, or maybe even chapter 7. The point is, it's in the earlier chapters, it's like mid chapters of, not mid chapters, but around chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10. That's like the origins of Saul. Where it talks about his father, he's going to prophesy with the prophets when he went to get back his sheep, that was lost. Anyways, let's keep going. And when Saul rose early to meet Saul, so like, 1 Samuel 15 and 12, and when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up and is gone about, and passed on and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord Yahawah, I have performed the commandment of the Lord. And in ignorance, should we even say it's ignorance? He's saying that he did the command of the Most High, but he didn't though. He didn't do it. He didn't do it in a way that it was supposed to be done. Now verse 14, and Samuel says, so 1 Samuel 15, chapter 15 of verse 14, and Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of sheep in mine ears and lowing of the oxen which I hear? So this is what happened. Saul was saying to Samuel that, he's done the commandment of the Most High. And Samuel was like, alright, why am I hearing sheep and oxen outside? When I clearly told you, kill everything. When Yahawah clearly commanded you to kill everything. You see? So that's the spirit that Samuel was in, man. Like, don't bullshit me, man. Right, verse 15. And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of oxen, and sacrificed unto the Lord Yahawah thy power, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee that the Lord Yahawah hath said to me this night. He said unto him, Say on. What it reminded me of, it was hold on, actually, wait. Hold on. It says, Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee that the Lord Yahawah hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. Alright, verse 17. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, because remember, he was a young man, he was a tall guy as well. He was a very tall guy. We mentioned it in the origins of Saul. Hold on, let me just try and get that chapter. It should be like chapter 9 or something. I'll know it when I see it. Yeah, it's chapter 9. It's chapter 9. If you read chapter 9, you're going to know his father's name, which is Kish. Actually, hold on. So there was a man, Benjamin, Kish, son of Abiel. Yeah, Kish was the father of Saul. And Saul as well, when he was described there, he was actually a tall guy, man. He was quite a handsome guy as well. I think it mentioned it here. It says I'll read this quickly. 1 Samuel 9 and 1. Now there was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, and the son of Zeror, the son of Becherath, and the son of Aphia, a Benjamite, a mighty man of power, and he had a son whose name was Saul, a choice young man, and a goodly, and there was not among the children of Israel a goodlier person than he. From his shoulders and upwards, he was higher than any of the people. So, point is, he was handsome and he was tall. The typical tall and handsome. When brothers say tall, dark, and handsome, which is the reference to really Israelites. Now continuing on, you know, let's see, verse 18, no, verse 17 again. And Samuel, so 1 Samuel 15 and 17, chapter 15, verse 17. And Samuel said, when thou was little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord Yahawah anointed thee king over Israel. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. So that was a commandment. Kill all of them. Total wipeout, man. Wherefore, when didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord Yahawah, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? You know what this reminds me of as well? I'm trying to think. What's the movie name, man? There's one of the Indiana Jones series as well. I watched it recently. And the first one was on the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which that was based on the Ark of the Covenant as well. You know, they had to have a medallion to achieve that, so that to find the location of the Ark of the Covenant. Because the reason there was that Esau wanted to take the Ark of the Covenant so that he can be able to communicate with the Most High. But that ain't for you, man. And at the end of the movie, it was spiritual. I'm pretty much spoiling it, but it's spiritual because you know, when the Nazis took the Ark of the Covenant, they all died. They all died when they opened it up. They all died. They tried to do the same thing, and that's only for Israel to really deal with, man. More specifically, even the Levites were supposed to be the ones, you know, actually handling that tool as well, the Ark of the Covenant. Anyways, besides the point, there was one of those. I think it's the third one. What's it? So, first one was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Second was the Temple of Doom. You know, you had Elam and their idol in that one. Then you had the other one. Not the last one. The third one. What was the third one? I think the third one's actually the main one. The one that links to the scripture here. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom. Damn. It was a tool as well, man. I'm trying to think of it. Yeah, I forgot the name, man. But it's one of them third Indiana Jones. I think it was made in 1989. Yeah, 1989. So the first one's 81. Second one's like 85, so 1985, and the third one's 1989. Could check right now, but it's all good. But in that movie, there was was it actually that movie? Either way, I presume it's the third movie. The third movie, you know, the guy Indiana Jones actually told a friend of his called Salah, when you go to collect the horses, collect only the horses. Don't collect the camels. You know, but Salah, because of the fact that he broke his car, he wanted compensation. So he told Indiana Jones that, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna collect the horses and I'm gonna get the camels as well. But he did what was in his mind. He didn't listen to Indiana Jones, man. Which all of the camels would have been extra weight. That's the problem. So that's why Indiana Jones said, just collect horses, not the camels. You know, so when they were escaping from, I think they were escaping from the Nazis again, or some Russians. Actually, the Russians was in the last part, the 2008 Indiana Jones movie. But anyways, point being is the same way Indiana Jones was saying to Salah, don't collect the camels. It's the same way the Mosai said, just do the total wipeout, don't collect anything. Yeah, that's what Samuel was saying here, man. With Samuel, of course, being the mouthpiece of the Most High Yahawah onto sword. So let's continue. So it says in verse 19, wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord Yahawah, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of the Lord Yahawah? And Saul said unto Samuel, yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord Yahawah, and I've gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. I'm laughing as well because in the series House of David, they literally acted this scene out as well. You know, where Samuel was communing with him. Why didn't you kill the darn king? He didn't say that, by the way. But why didn't you kill the king? And, Saul was speaking here and there, that and this. But he didn't really follow the will of the Most High, man. That was his downfall. Now it says in verse 20 again, and Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord Yahawah, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord Yahawah thy power in Gilgal. It says, and Samuel said, Hath the Lord Yahawah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? So what he was saying is, he has more delight. Yahawah has more delight in obedience rather than sacrifices, man. Which he's literally about to say, Samuel. So it says, as in obeying the voice of the Lord, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. So of course, obedience, to hear first, this is better than sacrifice, and to have fat rams, which is really just vain profit. So for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. And that verse right there is 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So rebellion is like witchcraft, that's what it's saying right there, which is very, as the scriptures say, it's in Exodus, suffer not a witch to live. I think it's Exodus 20 and 22, it could be that, but it's in Exodus though, I know it's in there. Suffer not a witch to live, man. So yeah, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. So iniquity is just, wickedness. It's like many layers of wickedness, let's just say that, or many layers of sin. Idolatry, worshipping of idols, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord Yahawah, he hath also rejected thee from being king. So that was the downfall of Saul, which really from the beginning we already knew anyways, because we read it in 1 Samuel, I think chapter 8, chapter 8 or chapter 7, man. On the king, because Israel wanted a king. All right, you wanted a king, he's going to be a pain to you, though. That's what the Most High said. So Saul was set up to fall, man. he was set up to fall. That's why we have to fear Yahawashi. Pray that Yahweh to Zod, that we're being guided on the righteous path, as we reason with these scriptures, and of course that we're not on the bad side of Yahweh, that we're on the good side, we're on the side of his favor. Right, let's continue on. Verse 1 Samuel 15 and 24, and Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord Yahawah, and thy words before, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. You see, as I said, man, this one's going to be about the wrong side of fear, which is fearing the people, fearing the world, which causes men to disobey the Most High. Which should not be so. It should be the opposite, where we obey the Most High because we fear him, and we have less fear, pretty much fearlessness towards the world. Because the more fear and faith we have in Yahweh outside, the less fear we have of the world. That's literally it. So now, therefore, I pray thee, pardon my. When I say fear of the world, I'm talking about typical so-called peer pressure. You don't worry about that thing. I'm also talking about the death, the psychological impacts that Esau has, the manipulations that he has, to make people feel shame. Pretty much all these emotions that provoke people to just get in line with his agenda. That fear, we have fearlessness towards that because we have a fear towards Yahawah Yahawashi. Fearful to Yahawah Yahawashi, fearless to the world. And that's what we're trying to strengthen. That fear and faith in Yahawashi Yahawashi, and that fearlessness to the world. Alright, verse 26 now. Actually, verse 25. 1 Samuel 15 and 25. Now, therefore, don't worry, I'm almost done. So, 1 Samuel 15 and 25. Now, therefore, I pray thee, pardon my sin, and turn again with me, that I may worship the Lord Yahawah. And Samuel said unto Saul, I will not return with thee, for thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, and the Lord hath rejected thee from being king over Israel. So, this was a great pain to Saul, man. And Samuel turned about to go away. He laid hold upon the skirt of his mantle, and it rent, which means it tore. So Saul was like, Saul gripped his garment and then it tore, man. That's what happened. So, and Samuel said unto him, the Lord Yahawah hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day. So the Most High has torn the kingdom of Israel, metaphorically speaking, from Saul, from the hands of Saul, from King Saul, of Israel from thee this day, and hath given it to the neighbor of thine that is better than thou. And by the way, that would be King David. You know, if I recall from the looks of things, I would say. So verse 29, and also the strength of Israel will not lie nor repent, for he is not a man that he should repent. Then he said, I have sinned, yet honor me now, I pray thee. You know, he's begging Samuel, you know, to have an intercession with the Most High Yahawah. The deal was done, man. There's no going back, you know. So the Most High was like, no. That's it, man. That's it. That's what he said unto King Saul. So I pray thee before the elders of my people and before Israel, turn again with me that I may worship the Lord Yahawah thy power. So Samuel turned again after Saul, and Saul worshipped the Lord Yahawah. But then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag and king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. And Samuel said, as thy sword hath made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women. And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord Yahawah in Gilgal. Then Samuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house to Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord Yahawah repented that he had made Saul king over Israel. So that's the point right there, man. Most I regretted making Saul king over Israel, man. You know, and Samuel, he never saw Saul again until he died, man. You know, so that's really a summary right there. So that's the point there. That's an example of fear, but in a wrong manner. Fear of the people, fear of the world. You know, which I'm talking about heathens in our context. You know, Esau, Edom. You know, but that really talks into submission into it. Man. That's why our fear of Yahawashi must be more. A good example of fear of Yahawashi, as I read in the previous video, is Second Maccabees. What's it again? Second Maccabees 7, and Second Maccabees 7. You know, and the 7 brethren, the 7 brothers. That's a major example of faith, man, and fear in the right manner to Yahawashi, to lead them to take the right actions. You know, so that's the major example. I'm getting one more preset, then close it out. Because that's the point proven. Our fear of the Yahawashi conquers worldly fear. That's the point of the video. That's the learning of the video as well. Alright, let's see something. Okay. Proverbs 1 and verse 7. Which is the key part here. Proverbs 1 and 7. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head. Actually, hold on. I'm reading verse 9. So look, Proverbs 1 and 7. For the fear of the Lord Yahawah is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So it said the fear of the Lord Yahawah is the beginning of knowledge, man. So our knowledge is really based upon these scriptures. And to be guided in the right path, the fundamental roots of gaining the right knowledge is the fear of Yahawah. Bahasham Yahawashi, man. So that's just the lesson right there, man. Fear Yahawashi, because that'll be the rightful and righteous guide for us in the time that pressures are going to be up, man. Mental, psychological, spiritual and physical pressures will be up, man, in Jacob's trouble. In this time of the mark of the beast. So that's the similarities are that you've been built up by it, you've been encouraged by it, brought out the balance, how fear ought to be in Yahawashi, what it can lead to, that's profitable in the spirit, with Second Maccabees 7, yeah, and also how it can be unprofitable when you have fear towards the world, which is the wrong type of fear. You know, 1 Samuel 15. So that's the example there. Yahawashi has already been edified and encouraged and exalted. So yeah, I'm gonna end off there. Shalom, Kal Halalim La Yahawashi Yahawah Kodash once more. Double honors to the witness and apostles. And Thali Al Thali Al for the strength in order to make this video. Shalom.